Winter doesn't just feel miserable, it can turn dangerous fast. Today, we're breaking down 20 forbidden heating hacks people living outdoors rely on, and we're keeping it practical. Stop heat loss, stay dry, block wind, and use low-risk, legal ways to hold on to warmth. This is for awareness and emergency prepping, not for taking chances with fire, fumes, or risky shortcuts. If you're in immediate danger from the cold, get to a safe indoor place and contact local help right away. Number 1. Ground insulation first. The fastest way to get dangerously cold isn't cold air, it's the cold ground pulling heat straight out of you. Think of the earth like a giant heat sponge. Once your body warmth touches it, it just keeps taking more. So the first street-tested rule is simple. Before you add anything on top, build a thick, dry layer underneath. Closed-cell foam pads are the gold standard for beginner prepping because they don't soak up water and they don't flatten much. If you don't have one, stack what you can. Flattened cardboard, folded blankets, extra clothes, a backpack, even multiple layers of corrugated shipping boxes. Thickness matters more than softness. If your insulation compresses to almost nothing when you lie down, it won't trap air, and trapped air is what slows heat loss. Once the ground is handled, you can finally make your layers on top actually work. Number 2, keep everything dry. Cold plus damp is what breaks people. Wet fabric conducts heat way faster than dry fabric, and it also triggers evaporative cooling, which is the same cooling effect that makes sweat feel chilly. The practical move is to manage moisture like it's part of your heating plan. Don't overdress while walking or doing chores. If you feel yourself warming up, loosen a zipper or remove one layer early before you sweat. If you do sweat, change the base layer as soon as you can, even if you keep the damp layer nearby to dry later.
For winter prepping, this is why wool and synthetics beat cotton. Cotton holds water and stays cold, while wool keeps some warmth even when it's slightly damp. Dry socks are a big deal. If you only have one spare item, make it socks. Number 3, block the wind. Wind doesn't just feel colder, it actively strips away the warm air your body creates around itself. That's why a calm 30 degrees Fahrenheit can feel manageable, while 30 degrees Fahrenheit with wind can feel brutal. Before you pile on more clothing, fix the wind problem. Look for a natural windbreak, a wall, a thick hedge, the sheltered side of a building, or any structure that stops the air from flowing across you. The goal is to create a still air pocket where your body heat can build up instead of being swept away. If you're setting up a tarp or blanket as a barrier, keep it low and angled so wind slides over it. Also watch for wind tunnels. Alleys and building corners can funnel air and make things worse. Once you're out of the wind, every layer you wear suddenly becomes more effective. Number 4, layer with intent. Layering works when you treat it like a system, not a pile of random clothes. Your base layer's job is to move moisture away from skin. Your middle layer's job is to trap air, that's your insulation. Your outer layer's job is to block wind and light moisture. The biggest mistake beginners make is crushing the insulation. If your boots are too tight or you stack too many socks, you squeeze out the air and your feet get colder, not warmer. Same with tight jackets that flatten a hoodie underneath. You want loft, meaning a little puffiness. And adjust in real time. If you're heating up, vent. If you're cooling down, seal up. Prepping isn't about owning the fanciest gear. It's about knowing when to add, when to remove, and when to let moisture escape. Number 5, vapor barrier trick. This one sounds weird until you understand the logic.
Sometimes the biggest problem isn't outside moisture, it's the moisture you create. In deep cold, sweat slowly moves into your insulation and makes it less effective over time. A vapor barrier is a non-breathable layer that stops that moisture from reaching your insulation. The common emergency version is for feet: a thin sock, then a plastic bag, then a warmer outer sock. The thin sock protects your skin. The bag blocks moisture. The outer sock still insulates. The key is using it strategically, not all day. If your feet start feeling clammy, you need to air them out, because too much trapped moisture can lead to skin problems. This is a last resort tool when it's very cold and you're trying to sleep warm, not a everyday comfort hack. Number 6. Seal the openings. People focus on thick coats and forget the simple truth. Warmth leaks out through gaps. Cold air sneaks in at the wrists, ankles, waist, and especially the neck. Seal those points, and you'll feel a noticeable difference without adding bulk. Tuck your shirt into your pants, and your pants into your socks if you can. Use a scarf, neck gaiter, or even a spare t-shirt as a neck wrap. The neck is a big heat loss zone because blood vessels run close to the skin there, and wind hits it directly. If you don't have gloves, you can still cut heat loss by pulling sleeves down over your hands and keeping your wrists covered. Think of it like weather stripping on a door. You don't need a bigger heater if you stop the drafts. Number 7. Sleep compact. Your sleeping posture changes how much surface area is exposed to the cold. Spread out, and you're basically offering your whole body to the air. Curl up, and you reduce the exposed area. Keep your limbs closer to your warm core, and make it easier for insulation to do its job. Side sleeping with knees slightly drawn up is often warmer than lying flat.
For hands, one of the simplest tricks is putting them in a warm pocket against your body, like between your thighs or under your armpits, because those spots stay warmer and help rewarm fingers faster. If you cover your head, do it in a way that still lets fresh air in. You want warmth, not a sealed bubble that turns damp. Compact sleeping is a boring tactic, but it's one of the most effective. Number 8. Mylar sandwich method. Emergency reflective blankets, Mylar, can be useful, but only if you use them in a way that doesn't trap sweat against you. The street-smart approach is to put Mylar between layers, not directly on bare skin, and not as the outermost layer in wind, where it can tear and flap. Reflective side facing your body helps bounce some radiant heat back. Using it as a ground layer can also help if your main issue is a cold surface, but pair it with something that adds thickness, because Mylar alone doesn't insulate much. The other issue is condensation. If you wrap too tightly, you'll wake up damp. So keep it part of a breathable system. Mylar inside, fabric outside. Number 9. Scrounge insulation safely. A lot of forbidden warmth tricks online push risky behavior. The smarter version is to get insulation in ways that are safe and legal. Thrift stores often have cheap fleece blankets, oversized hoodies, and wool sweaters that trap air well. Moving blankets are heavy but extremely warm, and they're often sold used for low cost. Closed-cell foam pads, yoga mats, or even interlocking exercise tiles, the kind used on floors, are huge upgrades because they keep you off the cold ground. Reflective windshield sunshades are another underrated piece, lightweight, reflective, and designed to reduce heat loss. If you're prepping for winter emergencies, you're basically building a heat retention kit, and insulation is the main currency.
Number 10. Shrink your shelter. Big spaces are hard to heat. Small spaces warm up with your body heat surprisingly fast. That's why a well-fitted sleeping bag feels warmer than a giant blanket draped loosely. Even without a tent, you can create a micro-shelter, a tarp positioned low, a windbreak close to your body, or a nest built from blankets and insulated padding. The goal is to reduce the volume of air you have to warm and to stop airflow from moving through your sleeping area. At the same time, don't fully seal everything. You need a little ventilation so moisture doesn't build up and soak your insulation. The sweet spot is draft-free but breathable. This is one of the core principles in prepping. Trap warm air, manage moisture, keep airflow controlled. Number 11. Eat for warmth. Food is fuel, and in cold weather, fuel turns into heat. People living outdoors learn fast that a warm body isn't just about clothes. It's also about calories at the right time. A small, high-energy snack before sleeping can help because digestion increases heat production. Fats and proteins burn slower and longer than sugary snacks, so things like peanut butter, nuts, cheese, or a simple sandwich can provide steady warmth through the night. Warm drinks can help too, mostly because they warm you up while you're drinking and encourage hydration. But the main win is still calories. One important rule for emergency preparedness: avoid alcohol for warming up. It can make you feel warm while actually increasing heat loss and messing with judgment when you need it most. Number 12. Move, don't sweat. You can generate a quick heat boost with movement, but the line you never want to cross is sweating. Sweat is a long-term heat loss problem. The best approach is short, controlled warm-ups. A few minutes of brisk movement, then stop and let your body settle into your layers while you're still dry.
If you're stuck in one place, you can use small movements that don't spike sweat. Slow squats, calf raises, or gentle isometric contractions where you tense muscles for a few seconds and relax. These create heat without turning you into a steam engine. For beginners, the simplest rule is, if your clothes are getting damp, you're doing too much. Warm up just enough to feel circulation return, then lock that heat in with insulation. Number 13. Warm pulse points. If you have limited heat sources, placement matters more than quantity. Your body has highway areas where blood flows close to the surface: wrists, neck sides, armpits, inner thighs. Warming those spots can help warm your hands and feet because you're warming the blood that travels outward, not just the skin. Chemical hand warmers work best when they're wrapped in cloth and placed near these areas, not pressed directly on skin. Even a warm water bottle, or a tightly sealed bottle filled with warm water, tucked near your core, can stabilize your whole body temperature better than trying to heat fingertips directly. This is a classic prepper move. Think system-wide warmth, not spot warmth. Number 14. Safe heat packs. People try all kinds of improvised heaters when they're desperate, and that's where accidents happen. The safer options are boring, but reliable. A hot water bottle is one of the best. Fill it with warm, not boiling water. Wrap it in a sock or cloth, and keep it near your core or feet. Chemical warmers are great if you can stock them, because they're predictable and don't require flame. At home, a rice sock warmed in a microwave can hold heat for a while, but that's a prep-at-home tool, not a street tool. What you want to avoid is open flames or DIY heaters in enclosed spaces, because fire risk and bad air buildup can turn a cold problem into a life-threatening problem fast. Number 15. Steel sun heat. The cheapest heat source is the sun, and it's available even in cold seasons. During the day, prioritize drying and warming. If you can, air out damp clothing in sunlight or near moving air so it dries before night. Dark materials absorb sunlight better, so even laying a dark jacket in the sun can add a little warmth to your evening setup. Another overlooked trick is using thermal mass in a safe way. If you have access to warm water before bed, store it in a bottle and keep it insulated so it stays warm longer. Also, pay attention to surfaces. South-facing walls, in the northern hemisphere, often hold more warmth after sunset than shaded areas. You're not looking for a miracle, just a few degrees that reduce how hard your body has to work. Number 16. Blanket burrito wrap. A blanket works better when it blocks drafts and traps air, not when it's just laid flat. The practical method is to wrap in overlapping layers so there aren't big gaps for cold air to pump in and out as you move. Overlap the edges, tuck the bottom under your feet, and position the seam under your body so it stays closed. If you have 2 layers, put one under you as a ground barrier and one over you as a top layer. People often use one blanket for everything and end up losing heat to the ground anyway. This is why preppers like modular systems, a pad for the ground, insulation around the body, and a wind layer outside. Number 17. Reuse your breath. Your breath carries warmth and moisture. If you let it disappear into the cold air, you lose that heat and your face dries out faster. If you trap it too much, you create dampness that can chill you later. The balanced approach is simple. Breathe through a scarf, cloth mask, or neck gaiter pulled up over the mouth with enough space that you're still getting fresh air. Nose breathing helps because your nose naturally warms and humidifies incoming air better than mouth breathing.
The goal isn't to seal your face, it's to soften the cold air hitting your lungs and reduce the sting of dry winter air. It's a small comfort trick that adds up over hours. Number 18. Beat the dawn dip. A lot of people assume midnight is the coldest time, but the roughest stretch is often right before sunrise, when the ground and air have been losing heat for hours. Plan for that like it's part of your schedule. Keep one extra layer within reach so you're not digging around while shivering. Save a small snack for that window so your body has fresh fuel when it needs it. If you're doing urban emergency preparedness, this is where routine matters. Adjust your layers before you're fully cold, not after. When you get chilled, you burn more energy just to get back to baseline. Staying ahead of the temperature drop is one of those invisible skills that separates beginners from people who've actually lived through cold nights.
Number 19. Use legal warm zones.
The most effective heating hack in cities is simply accessing safe, legal warmth. That means knowing where warming centers operate, which community centers have day programs, where shelters do intake, and which public spaces are open during normal hours. Libraries, community buildings, and outreach programs can be part of a heat strategy without any risky shortcuts. For prepping, you can treat this like mapping resources. Know phone numbers, hours, and locations before you need them. If you're in the US, dialing 211 can connect you to local services in many areas, but the broader idea is universal. Use official help instead of improvised heat sources that can get you hurt or in trouble. The goal is stability, not getting away with something. Number 20. Beginner Prepper Checklist. If you want a realistic winter prep setup that focuses on warmth, build it around heat retention. Start with a closed-cell foam pad or other reliable ground insulation. Add a warm hat, a neck gaiter or scarf, gloves, and 2 pairs of socks, one to wear, one to keep dry. Include a Mylar emergency blanket for wind and reflection, but plan to use it as part of a layered system, not as your only layer. Pack a sturdy water bottle, a compact flashlight or headlamp, and a power bank so you're not stuck in the dark. For calories, carry dense snacks like nuts or peanut butter packets. The most important hack is practice. Try your system on a cold evening in a controlled, safe setting so you learn what works before an actual emergency forces you to find out the hard way.